Disregard the drumline. Forget any other fans. Ignore even the game itself. At this small school, Buff the Bison is the biggest show.
They do talk about him and they'll say, Buff was great, Buff. They don't even know who won the game because they're watching Buff.
This creature is every bit a character on the court, though not many can guess who the costume conceals. Few off campus know who's under that cloak. 31-year-old senior Austin Dunning.
They don't see the behind the scenes, the daily life that we live with him. And it's not something that's easily explained.
Austin was born in North Carolina, 11 weeks premature.
I've got chill bumps right now. I mean, you would think it had happened just 2 months ago or something because it's something I'll never forget.
He spent 44 days in the NICU and was eventually diagnosed with autism, anxiety, depression, and Asperger syndrome, meaning he struggles with social interaction and nonverbal communication. Not exactly a recipe for playing a mascot.
When he puts on that headpiece, he becomes Buff, and that is someone, if you will, that's someone different than Austin. That's
right. He blocks everything else out. It's gone.
There is plenty to erase from Austin's childhood.
Tough, stressful.
But it shaped who he is today.
On the first day of high school, some kid picked him up and they stuffed him in one of those tall metal trash cans.
Head first.
I just got a welcome call to high school.
I think that changed Austin. It gave him the determination to do something.
I remember thinking, I don't want to be remembered that for the rest of my life.
Stymied by schoolwork, Austin was always captivated by characters.
We never went through, I'm going to be a fireman, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be a character.
It is sad when a school does not have a mascot.
So soon after being bullied, Austin found the courage to become his high school's mascot, Buzz the Hornet. From there, he spent 4 years at Frederick Community College in Maryland as Freddie the Cougar. Then, like any potential recruit, Austin and his mom crisscrossed the country to consider their next options. Eventually, landing at Harding, he's now in his 9th year as Buff the Bison.
I think it's going to be perfect.
Once that headpiece is on, that is truly his comfort zone because everything else goes away. And people just react to him differently as Buff than they do as Austin. I mean, people like Austin, but it's daylight and dark, the difference between Austin and Buff.
I can be angry anytime I want. I can be happy anytime I want. I can be sad anytime I want.
Being Buff the Bison takes a herd. His mom is the mascot coach. In fact, the entire family moved to Searcy to support him.
He's my baby boy. I just want him to be happy.
As a character on the court, his gift is to make everyone around him happy too.
I'm just very thankful that he found something because I can't imagine what he would do if we weren't doing this.
Even from the top row.
I can see a better view.
Even amidst all the pageantry. Austin Thibeau is easy to see and even easier to hear.
Austin!
He applauds one player in particular, Austin Ledbetter, Bryant's star quarterback.
He idolizes him.
In fact, during games, the 9-year-old boy lives vicariously, tickled by every touchdown.
There we go! Medic!
Perturbed by every incomplete pass. He is one of the savviest sports fans you'll meet.
And these are my baseball cards.
It just so happens this Austin also has autism.
It's hard because you see all of the other kids. Like, I will go to school sometimes and I'll see him on the playground and he's by himself and nobody's playing with him, but I have to remind myself that for him, he sees the world differently.
But Austin is no different than the rest of the town in rooting for the Hornets.
This is my jersey.
He asked me to take him to a game this year because he started Pee Wee football. He wanted to see how the big kids do it, and after I took him, that was it. He was hooked. And it just took one game for him to be obsessed with Austin Ledbetter.
Word tends to spread nowadays, and the parents of the starting quarterback told their son about his biggest fan.
I know I was in that position when I was a kid. I was wanting those kids to, show me attention.
So 3 weeks ago, the elder Austin arranged for a picture after a Friday night game.
We tried to make it the biggest surprise because we knew how much he'd love it.
It was almost like the seas parted. The crowd just moved, and there he was, and Austin was just like, oh my gosh,
My dream came true.
It turns out that quick hello is just the beginning.
He made a deal with me that if I watch his games, he comes to my games.
The very next day, Austin appears at Austin's Pee Wee football game.
Just to see that smile on his face, kind of melted my heart, and it made me feel really good.
Every single time he made a play, he ran off that field and he high-fived Austin Ledbetter. And then after the game, he left my side and he went over to Austin Ledbetter, and I assumed he was saying goodbye, but he asked him to be his best pal.
He wanted to be my best buddy. I kind of fell in love with the kid.
Bridging the gap to a child with autism can be challenging, though the star quarterback seems to be unnatural. Austin's parents notice new confidence.
Sometimes he just has to work a little bit harder, but to now not want to give up just because of this one person is amazing.
3, 2, 1.
From the top row to the top of his world.
Victory! 35-21.
Austin used to wait for something as simple as a high five from his idol. Friends go a step further.
What's up, man? Buddy, how are you? I want to get you. Hey, you want to get your mom to get us a picture?
Yeah.
Austin and Austin embrace after every game. Then there's a surprise.
Oh, I like it.
Just as a puzzle piece for autism is placed on his helmet, Austin and Austin fit.
Hey, man, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Growing closer by the day.
They've got something so simple and common, and that's football.
Austin Ledbetter will be seeing his little face often.
If coaches are creatures of habit, Conway Christian's coach is case in point.
Were you last? All right.
Justin Kramer does plenty of preparation for practices in the afternoon.
One more, Bo.
He duplicates drills, stressing the simplest skills.
Little things, doing little things over and over and over and over, so when you get in the game, that was good, bud.
For coaches like Kramer, there's nothing worse than the unexpected.
Good job. Good job, Bo.
Then again, there's no one more prepared for it.
You really do think, there's no way this happens to us. It's just, but it is. I mean, it's a kick.
It was 2004, the last day of school for Justin, and just another spring day for his daughter, Jayla. She was 3.5 years old.
She had a very noticeable limp, so I ran and caught her, and was tickling her and all that stuff, and she turned and
The right side of her eye was like this, and then her face over here was drawn like a Bell's palsy look.
They rushed her to Arkansas Children's Hospital. By the next morning, doctors diagnosed their daughter with T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
I knew I felt pretty bad, but I didn't know what was going on to me. Then I was too young to understand.
Helpless is the best, I guess I can describe it.
Treatment began almost immediately. Because this type of aggressive cancer can hide in the brain and spine, it required radiation, chemotherapy, and injections.
You've got a 3.5-year-old, and they're gonna they're getting chemo, which is bad enough. Then they're going to inject it into their spine and brain.
I would have to step out sometimes just to, not break down in front of her.
Her cancer was in remission within only a few months, but treatment continued for nearly 3 years.
It's awful. She got so, like, you know, just bony and sores and stuff.
Justin and Jill made sacrifices, selling cars to afford her care, pain that pales to their daughter's struggle, and ultimately, survival.
Just proud of her. Yeah, she works harder than most, hands down. She's compassionate. She's, you know, all good.
Today, despite learning differences that could be caused by the repeated treatment to her brain, Jayla is an A and B student.
Returners over here for punt.
While her father has resumed his regular routine.
So nice to just, well, not worry about that stuff, you know, just do football.
And on Friday nights, look who's on the sidelines. She cheers on her dad, just as he cheered so hard for her.
I feel like when I'm on the field or the track field with him, I feel like I'm there, you know, right next to him, saying that you got this.
She said, you know, this is one way I can, you know, show him I love him, you know, and cheer for his team, you know, and she's always wanted to be a cheerleader for her daddy's team.
Eagle fans, raise your hands. This is the routine the Kramers are beyond thankful to see.
It's pretty cool, you know. It's just pride. I'm just so proud of her.